The Seneca Falls Convention was a convention that launched the women's rights movement. It was held in Seneca Falls, New York. The convention was held on July 19th and 20th, 1848. It was attended by around 300 people, mostly women who believed in making a difference. It's the 1840s. The anti-slavery movement is going on. Gold has been discovered in California. Tensions grow between Mexico and America. Women's rights isn't put into much thought. It isn't a pressing issue, after all.
In America, women's roles in their family were mainly domestic and at home, looking after the children and doing chores, while men got to go to work and take part in many things women couldn't do. But no one saw this as unfair because they were used to it, and it was just the way it goes.
All this changed when two women met in 1840 during an anti-slavery convention that they were denied entry to. The two women were infuriated. These women were Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Lucretia Mott. But after this, the next time they saw each other was years later. Then, in 1848, Stanton got invited to a tea party at a wealthy woman named Jane Hunt's house. There, along with Lucretia Mott, Martha Coffin Wright, and Mary Ann McClintock, she sat down for a discussion about the Quaker history, but the topic veered toward the prejudices held against women, so as a way to address their concerns, the five decided they would hold a convention.
Elizabeth Cady Stanton was the main activist and co-planned the convention. She believed that what was happening to women was unfair and decided to act on it. Lucretia Mott was a co-leader of the convention and was an activist helping with the women's struggle. Elizabeth Cady Stanton was a leading women's rights activist and a key player in the planning of the convention. Her inspiration came from the anger against the unfair laws and how women never had their voice heard. She grew up with these unfair laws and had to fight her way to be heard and seen.
Lucretia Mott was a Quaker who believed in religious reformation and was also an important suffragist. Elizabeth Cady Stanton worked with Susan B. Anthony, but Susan B. Anthony's main accomplishments were after the Seneca Falls Convention.
Henry Brewster Stanton was a prominent abolitionist, lawyer, journalist, and politician in the 19th century. He was a husband of Elizabeth Cady Stanton. However, he strongly disagreed with the idea of women's rights, and he and Elizabeth Stanton would often disagree on political issues. He threatened to leave Elizabeth and the town in which he had a strong reputation in through his committee work. Elizabeth Stanton showed no difference in this threat and continued to help to lead women's rights.
The five leading ladies then met up to plan the convention soon afterward, but they were stuck. The women didn't know what to do. They decided to draft the Declaration of Sentiments, which was modeled off of the Declaration of Independence. It would be read during the convention. They wrote resolutions that they thought should be followed. These resolutions became the foundation of the women's rights movement in America.
Elizabeth Cady Stanton said, "The best protection any woman can have, one that will serve her at all times and in all places, is courage." Elizabeth Cady Stanton would not have been an activist that led to the rights of women if she had been scared. Wherever she went, she walked with her head up and led announcements and parades. Alice Paul was a suffragist who led multiple campaigns and parades for women's rights. She helped secure women's rights to vote and later played a crucial role in securing equal rights for everyone. Her primary source of inspiration was the Seneca Falls Convention. Without her efforts, there would have been no parades or campaigns for women's rights that ultimately led to the 19th Amendment.
Many other influential people, such as Alice Paul's friend Lucy Burns, Frederick Douglass, and Susan B. Anthony, were inspired by the Seneca Falls Convention. After much planning, the convention took place on July 19th to 20th. The audience wasn't just women, though. The audience contained men, too.
They talked about the 11 abuses done by men. That included how men were able to imprison their wife, get their property, and get the upper hand in divorces.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. These inspiring words from the Declaration of Sentiments were the rousing sentences that brought together the women to come forward and fight for their rights.
All were agreed on except Resolution Number 9, which was the right to vote.
That one rule caused many disagreements among the women, causing many to withdraw their support. The Seneca Falls Convention laid crucial groundwork for women's rights and especially the right to vote, and it all started by the Seneca Falls Convention. The movement led to the passage in 1920 of the 19th Amendment, which gave U.S. women the right to vote.
The convention inspired many women across the country and around the world to fight for their rights. Unfortunately, all 5 of the original women died before the 19th Amendment was passed, but their bravery is still admired around the world and many statues have been erected in honor of them. The 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote, was passed in 1919, but success didn't come overnight. After nearly a century of inequality, were they allowed to at least vote? Women held multiple parades, although they were mainly held with white women in the front and black women in the back. On March 3, 1913, thousands of women gathered in Washington, D.C. for the biggest women's suffrage parade. There was over 5,000 suffragettes and 20 floats.
These parades and the ultimate right to vote would never have happened if the Seneca Falls Convention hadn't happened. The right to vote would have been seen as too extreme of an idea, but since the convention happened, a new possibility opened up to those who were ready to fight for their rights. And in the end, the idea became possible thanks to the Seneca Falls Convention.
The convention inspired the civil rights movement. The civil rights leaders thought if white women could earn the right to vote, then we can end segregation and unfair laws. Some argue, why does the convention even matter if their goal was reached 7 decades later? The answer is simple. The Seneca Falls Convention was like the foundation of a building. A building can be hard to create, and the road to success is filled with bumps, and especially because many people were opposed to this new idea. But the Seneca Falls Convention was the foundation, and a building cannot be created without a foundation. Because of a convention and 5 brave women, anyone with citizenship can vote in the US, regardless of race or gender. And the convention has provided inspiration for people all around the world and across the country to fight for their rights. All in all, the Seneca Falls Convention has changed history forever and for the better.